Good morning, everyone on YouTube and on Twitter and wherever else you might be watching this, and on 10 other platforms. And I did my little daily plan as a freebie today, like I often do, especially when like markets are in turmoil. I need my markets in turmoil headline, even though we're down like a little less than 1%, and we're at 6,400, so it's not like a big deal. A month ago, if you had said 6,400, most of us would have said you're crazy. Anyway, be that as it may, let's get back to the church of what's happening now. I'm going to ramble for another 2 or 3 minutes, more than usual, waiting for people to arrive at the 8:30 uh, official start time, so to speak. And let's take a look at where we are. And as you can see, we're, call it 6,400-ish. Nice round number, inflection wall, all that good stuff. I'll do a little more detailed analysis in a couple of minutes. Another thing that I read anecdotally, and I've seen it in more than one place, so I'm going to look into it. And actually, Dan commented in a different way about the same thing, and that's VIX. And what I'm going to just say now that I read, like I said, more than one place, is that for the first time in a long time, quote unquote, just to put it overly simplistically, customers are broadly short VIX, not long VIX. Typically, people are buying, institutions, whatever, or individual, people like some of us that might use VIX as hedges, like I do, um, or larger, medium retail players like Z Contrarian or whatever, might, use VIX as a hedge or as a trade, whatever. And what is said was people are short VIX. So I don't know if all those VIX 20 calls that I see are people short VIX. I'm not sure what the trades are. I'm certainly gonna twist some arms from people who I know have that information and see what I could find out. I know Options Depth has that in their beta, behind like the curtain, so to speak, and I'm gonna bug them. I'm gonna say, hey, just give me like a snapshot of 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 a depth view of VIX. Just give me one snapshot. I'll do the rest. So we'll see if I can get that, because that'll certainly help me with my if then and kind of seeing what the landscape may be like and where some of the inflection points are. Okay, what I'm going to do also, just to kind of get a little more stuff here, kind of want to see if there's any lines that I don't see, and it doesn't look like there are any. Okay, so it's 6:30, so now we're going to do the official. Good morning, Nanda. Now we're going to do the official good morning. And Dan, we're going to go with the VIX flow kind of. We'll kick it off with that after a brief whatever. Okay, so good morning, everybody, like I said, and here we are at 6,400-ish below. Obviously, just to state the obvious, overnight sell-off. Um, Euro inflation, bond, carry trade stuff. I put out a tweet. Actually, I wasn't sure what it was. I saw some headlines about the gilt. I saw some headlines about Japan, and I saw headlines about France. I saw a headline. Of course, we know that Modi from India is meeting with Xi and Putin, and Kim from North Korea are on the way. So IMHO India is playing a very high stakes poker game here, kind of hanging out with the axis of evil, so to speak. We just need the Ayatollah to show up on the scene to make it, to make it five. That would be a basketball team. That'd be a hell of a basketball team. Um, I don't know what the game is, what the end game is, but all I know is last time Putin met with Xi, I don't know if it was the last time, but when he met with Xi before the Olympics, he attacked Ukraine. So I don't know what the end game is, um, but certainly something that bears watching. And so the market has been relatively sanguine, and a lot of us, me included, say, well, what could go wrong? What could kind of spike vol and make things get a little spicy? Well, the old macro geopolitical turd in the punch bowl. And here we are. Quick look at VIX. I'm going to introduce and turn it over to Dan. And look at that. Looky there. So we have a nice spicy VIX spike. We were down below 15, a couple days ago, earlier in the week. On Friday, we kind of played around in the 15 and a half, 15, 16, or 15 and a half level. And now we've run through most of the levels that were keeping us, what's the word I'm looking for? That we were trapped below. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Um, and we're heading up, 18, 20. I don't know. There's a lot of VIX calls at 20 for October. Not sure what's in the September chain. We're going to look at that. And now I'm going to introduce Dan for a minute. Dan has been trading at my side, so to speak, for a number of years from the mentor Q days when I was, like a moderator there. They still have a presence there, but it's way diminished now. Um, and he's kind of come into my inner circle with a few other delinquents, and he's going to talk about VIX, and he'll be on my options guild thing doing some other trades, quote unquote. He has some other secret sauce that he uses. Um, I haven't been watching the other equity space as much. I've been kind of focused on SPX, so he's going to fill that gap. We now have unusual whales for our platinum or elite or whatever euphemism we have for that tier, and that'll be incorporated in there. And Dan made some interesting observations about the VIX complex. So go ahead, Dan, you're on if you're there.
Okay,
There
good
he is.
morning, everyone. Yeah, happy to be back. Been a bit scarce in the last couple of weeks. Very busy with other stuff, all about that. So yeah, happy to be back. Let's talk about VIX. I'm no guru furu and insightful person as other people are, especially if everyone sees the things we post from Z. Like Paul said in our pre-talk. There wasn't any real VIX trade there, and but what I saw on the weekend, we had this long weekend. We saw a spike in the on the call side. I will show you what I mean, and I also looked at the bid side, and I want to show you also some things on the unusual whales stuff. Maybe how you can use it, what you can do with it, but basically, if we looked at the flow, and the flow is just piece of the puzzle. It's nothing much more.
Do you have a screen to share or?
Vol's signal, the ones who follow him, Paul knows him, um, isn't a big fan of that, but I think it's a good inflection point, and then you make your due diligence, and I will show you how you can use that in the other options section and how we can make nice trades, safe trades, or maybe some more offensive trades. But Let's see if I can share my desktop a bit. Sometimes, let me see. I will try to do that. Okay. Paul, can everyone see what I'm showing
Yep, yep.
here?
We
Hopefully,
see it in
yes.
German.
Let
We
me
see
know,
a little
Paul, if this
German.
works. You can see something else in our StreamYard.
Yeah, we can see something in German. Z Thailand something.
I can't hear you, Paul. I don't know. Everyone's seeing, I'm flipping back and forth. Can everyone see here the flow? Okay.
Not sure why you can't. Not
Paul
sure
is
why you
letting me
can't hear
know.
me.
Um, Weird. I'm sharing everything. Okay, let's try again. I'm not on my normal normal system today. Okay, maybe now. Yeah, you saw German. This is not bad. I'm okay. Let's go to that. Can you see it now? Just give me a vocal okay or no.
Yes.
Go back to that. Yes. Okay. So this is like super reduced. This is not the whole picture. This is just stuff at the ask or above the ask. And you see here, you see above the ask, which is super aggressive. And you saw this on the 29th, and you see 12 million here. So if we just look at the volume here, like what a spike this has been here. So this is incredible, but this is not the whole story. We could go into that more until that loads. I want to show you stuff. If we are here in the unusual whales stuff Doc has put up here, you can use this just to check out things here. Oh, Andre wrote a yo there to our friend from the inner circle. So yes, you can just look at things. So what did I do? I looked at things at the ask and looked at things at the bid. And the interesting thing is, what do we see here? Let's take a look at the ask. You will see some puts, you see some calls. Important is how is the open interest? How has this been changed? You can see this here from how much is been bought. And you can see this here. This is the bid side. And if we go here, this is the ask side. So this is something I will always start with. And look at this, 11.43 million and 10 million here. So this is a lot. So from this, you can take that, you can train your AI, throw that in, both of those. But in the end, I like the more simplistic thing I showed you, and I have some other ones. But in the end, we saw that things are going higher. And if you see the whole flow here, you see we have so much more calls than puts. Is this something which is like should open our eyes? It depends if they were bought or if they were sold. And we see here mainly that were bought. This means someone is expecting something. So um, I would be cautious. And another thing which I've been looking, or I'm looking at it daily, is this thing here. You can open this for free. If you have an account, you can do other stuff, but we here at Options Geld, and this is nothing provided from by the service, but this is something very nicely you can use. It's very easy and it's free. So you can see the IVTS. This is the
Dan,
term
can you hear
structure,
us?
and for the VIX, and you can see here we are at this line here, and normally what happens? Okay, we can't go back in time right now here, but normally we have some spikes. This I like the red line more. They have cleaned it up, so we have some huge spikes coming up. So you always know something is gonna happen. So whilst we were here, I was talking with friends and ask me what to do with that, and I will keep it simple. We saw the market going up, yes, but I was preparing here that VIX would spike. So this one is not the classical VIX trade, maybe Z or other people would recommend, but it's a time where you can prepare yourself to see some downside, and the whole point is, if you don't only day trade, to look at your portfolio, what are all your exposures, and maybe try to find a trade there, either a mixed trade if you want to do something like that, or beside your day trades and all the other great stuff that Paul is teaching you here every day, if you want to be ready. And this is a metric you can look at. And this is, I'm trying to keep it nice and short, Paul, because time is always limited. So maybe back to you.
Okay, thanks, Dan. And I don't know, we couldn't hear you, but I mean, we could hear you, but we couldn't see your screen. At some point, the screen share went bye-bye, but that's okay. Let me cut to the chase. Now let's see where we are, and we'll kind of backpedal from there, and we'll kind of see if we could look at the VIX thing. Let me share my screen. Oh, and Punk has entered the studio. Oh boy, now we're in real trouble. He's got. I'll bring him on in a bit, and he'll give us the view from ES Scalping Mancini World, which we then try to, what's the word I'm looking for, overlay on Gamma and kind of come up with, price action slash Gamma and where the levels are. And he'll be showing up in the server from time to time, but he's in France, and in France, the national religion is not working, so you never know. Um, anyway, I'm just teasing. So, okay, so here we are. So, like I said in my morning note, and I said when I put it out, grain of salt, liquidity is thin, it's early, and I'll have like probably a 10 o'clock or 10:30 update to see what's really going on. But where we are right now, we're around 63.90 ish. And that puts us right in the range over here, this thin range. Puts us right here in this thin range. Um, Thin range up until 63.75, 80. This is kind of the first inflection point. By the way, going back to a chart for a minute, we'll look at the the vol complex in a minute. But you see the VVIX while everybody was sleeping, VVIX spiking, demand for VIX calls, etc., etc. Look at the VIX spike here. Let's take a look at the famous VIX VVIX ratio. Now, the VIX VVIX ratio, unless it didn't update, is actually kind of placid. We want to see it below 6 to say, okay, people are hedged enough. So that's kind of interesting to see. I didn't expect to see that. That's why we have these ratios on these charts. And I got to find where I was again, which is not so easy. That's not the one I want to see. I'll find it soon enough. That's not the one I want to see. That's not the one I want to see. Oh, wait, I had VIX on the screen, right? Was this it? That's what I wanted to see. Okay. So let's go back to SPX for a second, and we're at 90. Now, some of you may remember the Jackson Hole spike was from here, and we've basically given that whole thing back. Okay, so now we're kind of back where we started from. Has it only been a week? I guess it's been a week and a weekend round trip. And again, let me go to depth view. And I'm going to say right now for 0 DTE, I don't have a ton of visibility. what's been going on. Um, well, not lately, but what we've been seeing lately is we have somebody that takes the flows from options depth. You can put it on flow, which I'm not going to do, and then crunch the numbers, whatever, and get the large trades that are coming in. And we've been seeing 3,000, 2,000, 10,000 ish iron condors come in pretty close to the open. And by 10, 10:30, you have a pretty good picture of where the edges are. And you'll also see large debit spread trades or flies coming in, 1,000 lots, 500 lots, 10,000 lots, which kind of redo the structure for the day, especially when the structure is so thin like it is today. So, I mean, 6,400, clearly the round number inflection point. Um, Down at 6325-ish area or 6,300. There's a bunch of sold puts, market maker long, so we know that's safe. Uh, for Friday, there's stuff at 6275. There's longs over here at 6,400. So, certainly would not be shocked to see us. I mean, 6,400 is 5 points away. Um, Looking out at the monthly, just to kind of get the surprisingly to me little OI in the monthly. This is the AM expiry. This is the big one. This is a quarterly. Um, Up at 6,600, there's a bunch, 10,000 long calls up there. I'm not sure what they're there from, if it's a right tail hedge, if it's part of a larger structured product. 65.50, there's action into the end of the month. 64.50. So we have round numbers into the end of the month, but not real visibility. And I'm not a macro bro, so I can't really tell you how serious we should take this whole bond kerfluffle or not. Um, Dan was talking about the VIX. Let's take a quick look. Well, let's not look there. Let's look at. We can look here. We can look at Gamma Edge and see what's going on in the VIX. And we have all these puts over here. I don't know if you can see the numbers at 1550. Okay, 1750. So there's 500,000, almost a million puts, 1750 and lower. And we're above all of them. So whatever suppressant effect those puts have, we're over that. Out of that big inflection point. We're kind of at the point 18, COTMC, which I don't know if you can see it there or not. That's Gamma Edge secret sauce for calls going in the money. And clearly, if you're a bull, you don't want to see VIX calls go in the money. We don't want bullish VIX. Um, and that's 18, and that's kind of where we are. Let's change the view. And so we're over here now. So it's pretty thin. Just look at the size of the bars. Trust your eyes. They're a good filter. We don't see much between 18 and 20. So to feel a little more comfortable, so to speak, I want to see VIX below, at least back to 16 and a half, 16-ish, the recent range. And we'll see what the day brings. DJT, the president, has a press conference at 2 o'clock, so what could go wrong? We have numbers at 9:45 and 10 o'clock. I'm not sure exactly which ones it's in my note, ISM manufacturing, whatever. I don't pay as much attention, especially beforehand, to the numbers, other than, well, what the implication might be, and the numbers are going to obviously have implication for rates. I pay attention to the reaction. I can always backpedal and see what the numbers are and put on my macro analyst discounted cash flow hat and figure out what it means for PE ratios discounted out 10 years. That's a little bit of sarcasm. Um, and rely on people I know that they'll talk about how the yields are, and the FX is going to filter into SPX, whatever. I'm more interested in the local effect today and maybe out into September, end of the month. And I'm not going to talk about the September expiry right now. And let's take a look, by the way, although I have some ideas, theses, and levels, and I put some of them in my weekend note. Others will be coming. Let's see what October looks like. October, kind of similar distribution, 17 and a half, and then 20. Now, I read a note, I mentioned it before, that sells VIX they've been sellers, not buyers. So have they been sellers of 20 calls? I don't know. Be interesting. Now, from a gamma point of view, where the market makers are forced to hedge, we assume these deltas are hedged. We assume they're going to have to make an adjustment. They either made it in the pre-market, whatever the delta exposure was for October, or they'll be making it near the open. But these that are expiring in a couple of weeks, these have a lot of gamma. These market makers have to deal with. So now let's take a peek what's going on here in VIX. What do I have here? Okay, I have this VIX fly I bought a million years ago. In my other account, I have it more ratioed out. But here, this account doesn't have a lot of margin, a lot of buying power. So I'm not going to be selling naked calls or doing wide flies and ratios in this account. But let's take a look at what's going on here. VIX just locally. Now let's look at the call side because that's what we have to think about. 196,000 calls at 20, 88,000 here at 19. And at the same time, these puts are going out of the money. Or if there's short puts down here, guess what? Short puts are supportive. We don't want VIX to be supported. We don't want these puts at 15 or 16, whatever. We don't want these 90,000 puts here to be sold, to have support, or 17 and a half to have VIX, or 17. Look, one, you have almost 400,000 puts over here at 17.5. If these were sold, well, then that becomes supportive. And like I said, I know options depth has got something behind the curtain with a depth view of VIX, and I'm going to see if I can twist their arms and get a peek of it. Okay, that said, let's take a quick look at the chain. I'm going to put some of my other special guest stars on, so to speak. And I sold some stuff for Thursday, not Friday. Some of it's red right now. I'm not really worried about the 63.20 puts. Obviously, the calls are in no danger. I'll close those out and I'll see what I want to do. I'm not worried about the 62.95s. So let's take a look at today. So we saw that the 63.25 had a lot of gamma, and we have 8,000 open interest. That sure looks juicy to me. That sure looks juicy to me. 62.95 round number. I'm willing to give it a little extra play here. That looks good to me. That's another, whatever it is, 80 points from here, whatever it is. Um, so I'm going to be looking to selling puts initially below. I'm an iron condor premium seller first, and scalper and fly person next. Let me just do this. And so I know that there's 9,000. So where are they? 7,000 sold, almost 8,000 market maker long support, quote unquote, down here at 63.25, with a little buffer here at 63.35, with a void here could go either way, with a tiny little buffer here at 63.75. I'm gonna pound stuff down here. I'm also gonna look for flies, mid somewhere up here, 25 maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Um, where are we right now? Before I give up the mic, I like talking. We're at. Let me make it a smaller time frame so we can see the price. 63.85. So we still have this whole battle to fight. All right. I'm gonna put Punk on for a minute. If you want to share your screen, let me know, and I'll get mine off. But in the meantime, I'm going to start with you. And I know I have your Anna Mancini secret sauce here somewhere on my trading view. I don't know how to find it, but that's a whole other story.
Me?
Can
Can
hear
you
you
hear me?
now. Yes, we
Oh,
can.
okay. Hi, folks. Yeah, very simple here. I got a setup of, I'll start with the context. I think everybody's scared to long right now, obviously. And I'm looking at my Mancini setups if anybody wants to share the chart. And I had tag 98 ES and long the reclaim of '07, which I'm not very crazy about with this context, but we'll see. But I think we're all starting to play the game of where's the low. We got
Do you have a Mancini chart that you can share your screen, or you don't have like
I
that handy?
I do. Dan, can you help me out? Because I'm on the iPad with the screen. Just take the link from my chart and share it with the group. Because I'm trying to figure out my computer stuff and everything.
Dan, it looks like Dan left the building with Elvis.
Uh, Racer, you there? I think Racer is there. Just share my chart in the chat. Let me
Oh,
see.
is Racer masquerading as Scott Bennett?
He might. I don't know.
These
Let me
guys.
see.
And these guys I'll eventually get them into a channel on my server.
Yeah. Let me
Um,
send it to you. I'm gonna
it-
send it to you, Paul, on DM
okay.
and
Where'd you send it?
on the Discord because I can't seem to.
All
I
right, let
can't.
me
I
see if
could.
I can figure out how to do this. Oh, great. Now I'm really on uncharted territory. Where'd you send it? Individually or
Yeah,
in the chaos
individually.
server?
No, individually to you.
Okay,
Yeah, that's the one.
great. Now I have no idea what's going to even happen. My whole setup is going to be screwed up forever here.
Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So if you can see, just crop that. Nice. So we're expecting a failed breakdown at some point, of course. The sequence is always the same. Sell, elevator down, break multiple supports, headline, blah, blah, blah. We all know the story. Question is always, where's the squeeze, where's the long? So we got a few candidates that, by the way, I played a good one this morning. I think it was before the
You played
breakdown. I
this
think,
bounce, right? You played this bounce
yeah,
this
yeah.
morning?
We played the bounce. I trimmed at 44, pretty good trim, and then we broke down. We got a great breakdown short for those who take it. I don't, but it worked out nice. So then I took a step back and kept waiting for the low, of course. And you know, you want to let things settle and see where how far they're skitty about it and blah blah blah. And what I don't like is longing right before the open, even at the cost of maybe missing the entry. But the setup right now, well, the setup was tag 98 ES, and if it holds and defends well, long 6407, but it's kind of droopy here. The next setup I got, let me make sure that I didn't
So
leave
that's
anything
over
out.
here. Did we tag failed breakdown
Yeah,
6407? Yeah.
yes, yes, and it's kind of droopy there. You want it to really defend, you know. But what I'm seeing, otherwise, let me see if I missed something. Not really. I mean, that would be, it all depends on the open, I think, at this point, right? I mean, if we tank another 50 points, or it's just one of those standard 70-point ES sales that he likes to talk about. You know, Mancini always says a standard sell is 70 points. So that would fit the bill here, which would make this setup, the 6407, maybe the low of day and a hell of a long, but too early to tell. And even if I play this, I'm going to play this half size. That's one. So size down. And I have been talking to the group, and we'll be integrating that talk and whatever we come up with into Doc's channel.
And it's going to be labeled beware, enter at your own risk, because
Yes,
these guys are ES traders sitting around all night waiting for the setup. And so they're sending memes there. It's like a
all
locker
day,
room in there. So,
all day.
yeah, it's,
Total locker
so
room.
it's a locker room in there, and it's only going to be for the platinum or elite or whatever we call the subscribers, the fancy subscribers. And so, that's beware when that's coming.
In the words of Sacha Baron Cohen, we like to have fun, especially when, you know, you sit around a 23-hour market waiting for a 10-minute trade all day. You gotta find a way to make time pass fun. But honestly, here it's we haven't seen a sell like that in a while. And I'm no macro bro like you, so nobody really knows if they're taking this seriously. But we can see VIX spiking, we can see the market not liking it. Could it all be a bad dream that we wake up for in 30 minutes? Probably. Stats are with us, right? 75% of these sells always result the upside statistically. Or this could be the day where, you know, no support holds, which is, by the way, folks, if you're unfamiliar, this is why we use FBDs. The FBD is basically a confirmation that you'll get at least the level to level move.
And tell
And
them what FBD
yeah,
stands for.
AFBD is basically a failed breakdown. So that's basically a sweep of when the market establishes a low. We got the low of day or the low of the session or whatever. And then the institutions like to hunt stops and they like to hunt liquidity. So what they would do is they would flush that low, breaking it. Everybody jumps in short saying like, this is it. You know, we're tanking, whatever. And they're going to
This
flush
looks
it back
failed
then.
breakdown E to me. I don't know.
No, no, this could be the real deal today. Yeah. I don't,
Could be the
I
real
mean, even
deal.
and even if it is the real deal, we all know how this ends one way or another. An epic squeeze. So the game is now, where's the long? So it could be tomorrow even. But
That's why they call me McGraw, Quick Draw McGraw. I'm going to front run this shit.
exactly. That's what we're all about. So for those of you who don't like front running and need confirmation, that's where the FBDs come in, where we tag a level, we defend it, and then we recover a previous low, a major low, right? There are four criterias for FFBD. It has to be a major low, it has to flush, recover, it has to be structurally important in the TA of the chart. But I won't go into too many details just for today. But the idea being that every one of these violent, scary cells are basically just an opportunity to go long BTFD intelligently if you execute properly. So my thinking is, as an FBD trader, is I want to market to open, and I want to see. I think we got some more down too. I think I agree with you. But if we don't, and this was it, the reclaim of 6407 will be my trigger to saying, okay, we got the sell, we got everybody scared. Now they're loading up, and then you chase along with institutions and you ride them higher.
Okay, now 6407 for context is about 10 points from here.
Yeah.
And let me now I guess change screens for a second because I live on SPX. And so 10 points from here takes us to, lo and behold, magically to 6,400. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Exactly. So it would
There it is on
technically
my
be
chart.
just
Okay.
like, yeah, basically, we get back 6,400. I think it's safe to say, all of us, I mean, if they hold 6,400, this was all just a bad dream. But again, and this is what
Or
gets tricky, we
no, a
could
good
turn
dream,
around
a
there.
good dream, a
Yeah,
good dream
or
if you
we
went long.
watch out though for acceptance and traps and all that. This is where I get burned a lot. It's not so easy. It sounds easy on paper, right? But we could go up there, and then you got the 5 point danger zone above, below, the wicks, the whatever. So first of all, I would advise sizing down. That's number one. For those of you who are cowboys, just make sure you have a stop. I usually use a stop under the FBD.
If
This
you
would
heard that
be,
ring, that was getting a few MASs.
yeah. So a live example of front running the signal right there, folks.
Right, right. Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, exactly. So, but statistically, again, each 75% of these scary sells, especially when we're down 70 points, I think, resolve to the upside because it's just a bullish asset. So it's just a question of when do we buy the dip? It could be at 9:30 sharp. It could be at 3:55. It could be tomorrow. But whenever it'll come with the FBD. So it might be this setup or one of the the myriad of setups I have on my chart daily that will be shared, of course, with our members. And today is usually, I think Paul went over it. Today's a tricky one because we actually got like a proper sell, which is good news because if we get a proper sell, you know what that means later, the proper squeeze instead of just the boring 5-10 points grind up, right? So that's what we want is
And
volatility trade.
my TA mentor would used to say, price void down, price void back up,
Exactly.
or
Exactly.
gap,
Every
whatever,
action.
however you want to think of that kind of
Yeah.
action.
Every action has a reaction. Exactly.
All right,
So
I'm
we
going to
know it's
put,
coming.
good, you finish up. I'm going to put Bad Hombre on there to say a couple words. He's also,
Yeah.
he's the other official scalper.
Right. So I'm going to leave the stage to our friend Matt Ombre, and good luck and size down, guys. This is quick price action, and we haven't seen a sell in a while. And I didn't listen to the whole stream, but I'm guessing you talked about seasonality, them coming back to work, blah blah blah. So we're all thinking the same thing. So
Okay,
good luck out there.
take care. Go ahead, Shui, you're up.
Hey, good morning, guys. I'll be short as I'm getting ready here for the bell. I'm expecting a push up here into the open around up to, and I'm going to say SPX numbers around 6,400 SPX, if that. But I'll be looking to short that. I'm not sure if the short will come all the way down to our current low, but I'll try and scratch as much as I can from that push down, and then I'll wait and see, are we going to hold, like Punk said, and start pushing back to the upside, or are we going to continue for some downside? But that area there, I think, is key. If we start holding it, I would then start targeting 6420 for some longs.
Okay. Um, and all those numbers kind of coincide where we have gamma levels. And like I said, from the gamma point of view, we're thin. We're just plain old thin here. When I see numbers 800, 700, whatever, even 1,000 ish is where I start to say, okay, maybe that matters. Locally, intraday, locally, I mean near where spot is trading, intraday. Even retail traders like us, buying 5, 10, 2 contracts here or there, let alone institutions or bigger, small hedge funds, whatever, totally can swamp this 800 market maker long, and that could be long, that could be short, that could be anything, and it often will switch back and forth intraday. And where we end up seeing that, let's change to this. Where I end up seeing that is two places. One place I end up seeing that is okay, markers. And you end up seeing these tails on the markers showing, and often intraday there'll be tails on both sides indicating customers bought them, sold them back and forth, and indicating that's kind of a weak zone, path of least resistance, however you want to think of it. Um, Also, we see it on the intraday trades. Got somebody that's monitoring that intraday flow that I pointed out, and puts it in there, and then I look at it, we look at it, and kind of come up with a thesis of what's going to happen. So really, my thesis right now is based on kind of spotty information. I don't have a lot of information. So here's, the big 8,000 here. So I can say we're not going to 63.25. I'm willing to say that. I'm going to go on a limb. I'm willing to go on a limb and say we're not going to 65.20, but in here, 64.50, reclaiming, that's where we closed the other day. We closed higher. Or down to round numbers, 63.75 or 50, a nice void. I don't know yet. I just don't have enough information. Um, I have a guess, but we're going to leave that alone for now. Now I'm going to just try something else. I don't typically do this, but since I'm looking for more information, I'm just going to go to the end of the week, and I'll throw in where's the AM expiry? I'll throw in the AM expiry for fun, apply, and then I'm going to turn it to gamma because this, position number out in the end of the month doesn't really mean much, but the gamma does. Okay, so now that we're looking at a little bit more of the gamma landscape, what am I seeing? Well, I'm seeing 6,400 magnet in either direction. I'm seeing 63.25, the local holding. I'm seeing a cluster 45 and lower with a magnet here below. If below we have some positive, we can kind of grind through this. This ain't shit, so to speak. Pardon my French. We can easily grind through this and end up somewhere here, 50 anywhere in here. If we go down, I don't think we do. I think 6,400, like a few people have mentioned, as kind of our first target. Then we got to see 6,400. We got to stall right at 10. We have kind of
Yeah.
messy action, but a possible path up. 25 round number. That was the chop zone before we broke down. That kind of makes sense. Or maybe we retake, we have a path all the way up here should we get over 25, and suddenly we're back near 50, and okay, nothing happened. Somebody isn't watching the pre-market, a dentist or my buddy who's who does software, something, whatever he does, and we talk about the market sometimes, and he'll look at the end of the day and nothing happened. Or he might check intraday and text me, what happened? But yeah, so that's that. So back in the front running department, I'm gonna so I like that 25 area.
One thing I wanted to add here
Go
is we
ahead.
do see 63.65 SPX. I'm the way I trade, I'm more likely to see a push up after that. So if we come down to 63.65, I'd be looking for a reversal around 63.75. So break above 263.65 and then break above 63.75 for some longs. So if then
Right,
statement there.
right. And let me get this back to position number. And let me get back to zero. And we'll have more information, like I said, um, when we see what large trades have come in. Maybe showing up here now. If not, I'll doesn't really matter. I'll have the data in there, and then I'll look at it. Okay, it's 9:16. Uh, we have a Labor Day special going on. What is SPX now? I think Boomer is asking. At least I'm going to interpret the PX to be, he didn't type the
It's
S
about
in.
63.78.
It's 63.89, but who's counting?
Okay.
So it's about 11, 12 points difference, and that difference will recede as we get to the end of the September contract. And so 6,400 clearly is what we want to see, you know, on the upside for something to flip, something to happen. And the downside, like Chewy says, 63.75. I have a magic line here and extension down to 60. Just again, where he said 65, okay, 60, 65. I'm not so exact. And then, of course, we have that stuff all the way down there at 25, which is a dream. And that's it. Okay. I'm going to end the live stream now. Let me see. Do you have the referral link handy? Not the referral link, the Labor Day special link handy, Bad
Yeah,
Hombre?
I'll
Okay,
send it to you on Discord right now. I just can't put it
okay,
in Zoom in the YouTube.
okay. Let me get the referral link. It'll be there somewhere. Not the referral link, the discount link for Labor Day special. I've become a. It's funny. I resisted doing this for so long, for years, 5, 10 years. People were saying you should start a service. You should start a service. And so now I actually did. Okay, let me see where. Here it is. Okay, copy text. There it is. And let me see. I'm going to put it in my Twitter. This is a new trick. I'm going to try this, see what happens. I put it in the Twitter comments thing. I don't know. And let me go back to chart and the screen share. And I'll end with a last view of where we are. And so we got to get over 6,400. I asked my macro bro buddies what there is to worry about, quote unquote, with this whole bond thing. And I'm waiting for something other than doesn't matter. The U.S. Treasury is toast, which okay, people are selling bonds. We kind of know that. Last look at my little volatility thing. Oh wow, look at that. We're at 19, almost at 20. I think that might be a Macmillan short, you know, close out your longs and get your short signal. I have to see what Macmillan has to say, and I guess I have to look back. He had a buy, I think, when we broke down from 18 and change to 15 and change. So this would negate that buy and put a short on. He does it like a soldier. You know, if it's 2 pennies away, it's a no. If it's 1 penny away, it's a yes. And he'll hold on to it like a Marine until the signal changes. And if he has two different signals, he'll do both. I use a tad more, what's the word? I don't know, common sense or something or other. Although I've been known to have longs and shorts on at the same time. Don't get me wrong. But anyway, that's where we are. And heading toward 20. Oh boy, spicy. This should be interesting. Okay, with that, I'm going to end this. I'm going to be looking for some VIX broken wing flies or call ratios into October. I already have some, but this looks like fun. Okay, goodbye, everybody.